Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. As we all don't maybe want to admit it, there's a certain level of waste and carbon emissions that happen in most businesses, especially in a salon business. And with sustainability being a top priority for consumers these days, there's so many ways that you can contribute to reducing waste and running a more efficient operation. My name is Lori Obazinski. I'm the Director of Client and Partner Relations for Rosie Salon Software, and I'm excited to be joined today by two of our wonderful partners, Green Circle Salon and Vish Color Management System, to talk about how you can run a more sustainable salon. But first, I'd like to introduce Elisa Heron, who is going to be with us today, and she will be providing a few different polls during today's session. So, hey, Elisa, thanks for joining.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so let's get started. It takes a fair amount of water, gas, and electricity to keep your salon operating, much of which you cannot avoid. You've got to either heat or cool your building. You have to use electricity for your appliances and your tools, and of course, water your shampoo bowls. However, there's plenty of things that a salon can do to still save on these resources and also cut your carbon footprint. Whether you're building a brand new salon or you're updating your current salon, you want to consider swapping out some of your major appliances for a more energy efficient version. As much as your refrigerators, washers, dishwashers are workhorses, they really tend to drink the electricity. And the same thing goes for your water heaters. Some versions will help to heat the water quicker and more efficiently, and many with a faster recovery time. Your lighting is another way to cut your energy use. High efficient lighting technology, LED lights, use around 75% less energy and will last up to 25 times longer than incandescent lighting. So consider swapping out some of your lighting fixtures for LED versions. And if nothing else, you can use compact fluorescent bulbs for your existing lighting. When it comes to your water, you want to go for water-wise dishwashers, washing machines, and yes, even your toilets to cut back on the volume of water that you're using. And you can even consider investing into some of those eco-efficient water nozzles, and that way your salon is going to effectively use less water at your shampoo bowls. But let's really pay attention to the things that happen daily in your salon, some of those daily habits. So if you constantly have your washing machine running, could you maybe reduce that laundry by using disposable towels? Do you leave appliances turned on or plugged in all day long or even when they're not in use? If you have multiple thermostats in your building, do you have somebody who is constantly turning the heat down while maybe somebody else is constantly turning the heat up? This is going to cause a battle in your thermostat, and it's going to cause a battle in your temperature regulations. So all of these things are going to contribute to your energy use. With the help of some great technology these days, you can consider how much paper your salon actually needs to be using. You could try to start sending out email receipts instead of paper to your clients. You can use digital client profile cards to store your notes and your formulas. You can opt in for paperless billing for your business expenses, and you can ditch your paper appointment book for an online version. And all of this is going to reduce the clutter and eliminate your reliance on paper. You can also make better use of your physical footprint. You want to consider converting any underperforming areas to a space that's in high demand and is a revenue generator. And one area that you can consider doing without is your large reception desk, or even some of your retail space. You can create a welcoming check-in center with a retail experience zone, or you can even opt in for curbside check-in and allow your clients to await their appointments in their car. All right, your salon does not need to compete with the Ultas of the world. You don't need to carry every retail brand that your distributor carries. By activating your e-commerce store, you can offer the same great products without the space or the expensive inventory. Instead, you can use that space to add another revenue generating workstation and an experience station that is going to promote your business while engaging your clients. Okay, but really, as a salon owner, how bad is the punch in the gut every time you walk into your dispensary and you see a bowl in the sink full of color that's just waiting to be tossed out or rinsed down the drain? Hair color is one of the highest grossing services in the salon, but it can also be one of the most wasteful on product use. With a color management system, you can learn how to better track and monitor your color and help your salon cut waste, manage its inventory, and boost profits. So, our first guest today is here to talk about color waste and how you can help your team cut your costs and save on these resources. So, please welcome Tim Howard, who is the co-founder and CEO of Vish. Hey, Tim, thanks for joining today.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for
Very
having me.
well, thank you. All right, so can you tell us in a nutshell, what is Vish?
Yeah, absolutely. So what Vish is specifically we focus on the hair color side of the business. We integrate with Rosie, which is really important because Rosie does such a fantastic job of your appointment book, your retail inventory, everything else that is running your salon. And with the integration with Rosie, what Vish does is we take the information from your appointment book and we populate it on an iPad at your color bar. And what we're able to do is track every bit of color that is mixed. We're able to provide you with analytics and track the inventory. And then when there's an overage, so let's say that your salon allows 40 grams of color when you're doing that new growth service and somebody uses 60 grams. We ensure that that information is sent to the front desk and the ticket is updated so that you're able to collect the additional revenue that typically walks out of the door and causes you a loss and a dip in your profits.
Okay, that's awesome. So, Tim, if you don't mind, we're going to take a quick poll of our audience and
Sure.
we want to ask them a question. So, Elisa, if you can help with our first poll, we want to know how much color do our viewers think that the average salon wastes?
Okay, the poll's been launched. You
And
will see.
sorry, just what I wanted to add, which I forgot to mention, is we have an iPad on the color bar, but most importantly, we have a scale, a Bluetooth scale that is connected to that iPad. So now you weigh your hair color through Vish, for those of you who don't know.
Perfect.
Great. We'll give about another 10 seconds on the poll. You can just simply click one of the answers. How much color do you think the average salon wastes? Excellent. Thank you for the responses. Excellent. Okay, we have, we'll go ahead and close the poll. Okay, lots of opinions here. 10% of us think that we waste about 16%. 20% of us think that we waste about 28%. 30% think 33%. Another 30% think 40% is wasted. And about 10% of us think it's 52%.
It's almost even across the board. So, Tim, how much does a salon typically waste on color? And what are some of the impacts on the salon financially and the environment for that waste?
Yeah, so the correct answer from all the study and all the data that we pulled from salons is the average salon wastes about 40% of their hair color inventory. So a massive number. And what I like to kind of give everybody that visual is imagine taking 40% of your shampoo, your retail order, and throwing that in the trash. It's just unthinkable. We would never do it. We keep such good tabs on that. But and what happens? So think 2 out of 5 every tubes of hair color you're actually throwing away. And that annually is about 15 million pounds worth of hair color in the US alone. So in total, about 330,000 tubes of hair color get thrown away. So just imagine what you would do with that extra money that comes into the salon. And it's not just the money from the inventory, but it's a revenue you can generate from that inventory. And what we're able to see in salons is salons per hairdresser annually gaining $5,000 to $10,000 in a lot of cases per hairdresser. So it's managing the waste and reducing the waste, and there will always be a small amount of the waste, but it's bringing that waste down to a manageable amount so that you're not losing money when customers come in for services, which is what we're seeing often. One of the biggest culprits that we see is in the toner side of the business, and I'm sure everybody on the call knows that the toners are a bit of an issue. But the over usage, the over mixing that happens during that toner is causing a lot of them to be not profitable and for you to lose money every time that customer comes in to get them. And we see that it's often in the top 3 services that salons are doing, toner are always in that top 3. So how we can take that back is just by using a color management system like Vish, so that you're able to have insight. We have a simple feature called reweigh. So what we do is we take the color bowl at the end of that service. So let's say Jane Smith comes in, she gets a hair color. You may overmix the first time, and that's completely normal because you're not quite sure what she's going to need. But what we do in the industry is we record that starting amount, and we keep repeating that starting amount every time Jane comes in. But what Vish does is we get you to put the bowl back on the scale. And by doing that at the end of the service, we calculate what's left, and we give you a recommendation on what to use next time. So that, and we know what an impact this has on the salon's profitability and what a massive impact it has on the environment. So that one simple step really helps you take care of both the profitability and sustainability of your salon, but also the impact that we're having on the planet.
Okay, so Tim, you mentioned having a scale and an iPad and Bluetooth. So how exactly does it work where they're weighing it, and what is it calculating, and how does Rosie come into play, and how does Rosie know?
So that's a great question. So what we do, first of all, is when you were set up with Vish, we integrate your POS, we integrate Rosie with Vish. So your hairdresser walks in, comes to start their shift for that day, and they go into the iPad on the hair color bar, and they see their schedule, all the clients that are populating that are getting hair color for that day. So client Jane Smith comes in, you press her name, and you see that she's getting a highlight and a toner service. And instead of mixing the old way, which was, mix on the scale or pour into a beaker, just mix on our scale and we'll record everything. You interact with our screen. So we know which products you're using to build those formulas, what services you're doing. And from that simple mixing on our scale and iPad, we're able to track the client's formula, how much was used, how much they should be charged when there's any changes to the services. We're also going to track, we're going to track the inventory. So instead of you having to rip off those tabs and put them in a bin and count them later for inventory purposes and update it in Rosie, we're going to automatically track that for you, which saves you a ton of time and gives you way more insight. We're also going to break down by employee on your Vish dashboard, how much waste each person is, how much cost per service they're doing. So detailed analytics on your employees and on your services, so that when you meet with us and we go over your dashboard or you're monitoring your dashboard, you're able to see what's happening in real time in your salon and able to make changes so that no matter who's doing a service, no matter which client it is, or no matter which service it is, your salon is equally profitable across all platforms, across all areas of the hair color business. So it's a first of its kind in terms of technology and what we're doing and what we're able to do. And there's 3 parts to our app. So we have a color bar app, which sits the color bar and the hairdressers access it there. Then there's also the front desk app. So it's a widget that sits over top of Rosie, which if there's a change to the service, we'll let them know. So think of it as a digital ticket or a digital traveler. So rather than relying on the honor system for me to go up and tell front desk, hey, I did a toner and I used an extra 30 grams of color, that information is already there when the guest is ready to check out. Then all of that information is then populated to a dashboard where you're able to see the detailed analytics that I speak of.
All right, so that's awesome. So then, Tim, what can a salon look forward to seeing in terms of the data that they get?
Again, so you're able to dive deep into the data. So that employee Tim Howard, that he did in the last pay period, he did 50 services. It will show a breakdown of what those services are, how much product was used per service for each one, how much waste was generated, and then how much additional revenue was generated from the product charges. And we're able to customize those product charges for your salon so that you're able to maximize each service and ensuring that you're hitting the target profitability for each. And then, again, we're continually evolving that. The inventory piece is really interesting. Like I said, where you're able to now just pull up that inventory, you know your profitability, you know what color lines are being used and which products are being used. And what's a little bit different about what we do than what's historically done is we look at the inventory, the hair color inventory, the same way that we do the retail inventory, is putting a markup on it. If you're investing $5,000 every month in your hair color inventory and you're selling it back out at cost or at a loss in most cases, it's just not the right way to look at inventory. So what we're able to do is put a markup on that, so that when your team is mixing too much color, then we recommend how much to charge that customer with a markup built in. We still have the system where, you know, you can add a bowl to the system and the staff is charged commission on that if it's time-based. However, if I just mix an extra 10 or 15 grams, it's not taking any more time, then there's a smaller charge that goes to the customer, which is easier to digest. You're not paying commission on that, so you're able to keep the cost down as well. But again, you know, there's a lot of nuances, a lot of detail to our system that if anybody's interested in having a demo, we'd be happy to set that up for you.
That's awesome. And then how long is it going to take to start seeing enough data before the salon can implement any changes that would be needed in how it dispenses color?
Well, that's a great question. So in fact, we do that right away. So salons are able to see from day one when they launch the system and they go live in their salon with Vish, we're able to start generating new revenue right away. And again, what I mean by new revenue is some of you are doing those bold charges when somebody uses an extra amount of color, but it's not collected every time. It's not consistent. And we see that across the board, that there's at least 15% of the revenue is being missed. So right off the bat, you're able to start generating new revenue and start paying, Vish pays for itself very early on. We have a low, you know, our monthly fee for the software, you know, you can expect to see a 10 to 20 times return on your investment.
Wow.
It's a game changer. You know, we've seen a lot of salons that since they implement Vish, the revenue and the impact that Vish is having financially on their business is able for them to grow their business. Not only hire more staff, but open up new locations as well, because now their profits are where they should be, which allows them to just grow a healthy business.
Mm-hmm. And Tim, do you have a guarantee on Vish?
We do. We have a money back guarantee. So if Vish is not working out, if Vish is not, if you're not seeing the returns on investment that you want to, then, you know, we have some benchmarks, but after 90 days of use, and why we say 90 days is we need to add that much time to collect enough data so that we're able to see how much you're using it and where the areas of where the challenges that you're having, so that we can help you make those.
Awesome. Okay, Tim, any final bits of information you want to share with our audience today?
Yeah, so we have something coming with Green Circle. We have a bit of a co-promotion going on here in April, so be sure to follow us on social media and you'll get to see what that promotion is. But for anybody that's on the call today that hasn't used Vish before and is interested in trying it, we're going to offer you some free scales. So when you go through the demo process, please mention that you're on this webinar, and the equipment, which is the Bluetooth scale, we'll make sure you get those for free. And those of you who are already Rosie Vish customers, we would be happy to give you an hour of our time and do a data review with any of you. So go through your dashboard a little bit more in depth. And I know some people had some questions kind of leading up to this. So if you're interested, please reach out to us. You can contact me directly, Timothy@GetVish, support@getvish.com. And we'll set that up and we'll go through a data analysis.
Perfect. And we do have the Vish QR code at the end of the session today, so they can scan that. There are also a handout with the promotion. So anybody that's watching in your key here, you should see handout, and you should be able to download any of the Vish or Green Circle handouts that are in there for yourself. Cool. And then Tim, will you stick around for some question and answer at the end? All right, perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for all of this wonderful information today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you. Okay, so our next guest is all about ways to cut waste and recycle within the salon. So please welcome Will Simpson from Green Circle Salons. Will, welcome.
Hey, Lori, thanks. Great to be here.
All right, so tell us a little bit about Green Circle.
Absolutely. And first off, let me just say it's so great to hear Tim talk about the Vish solution, because this just, we can't ask for a better partner than Vish in terms of realizing what we're trying to do in the industry. So Green Circle Salons is really all about waste recovery and building a green strategy for the professional beauty industry. And the program was actually founded about 13 years ago in Toronto. We now have over 4,000 members on our program, and we're closing in on 10 million pounds of waste recovered through our program.
Wow.
But it's not just actually about collecting the waste, it's really about reimagining how we do business and seeing how we can create partnerships with groups like Vish and EcoHeads, and of course our technology partners, to really realize an industry that is intentionally rethinking the way we source products, how we're using materials inside the salon, and ultimately how our services are being performed, so that the downstream impact of all of those actions is minimized. And by doing that, by really thinking about this as a comprehensive green strategy, we're able to significantly kind of reimagine how beauty gets made.
That's amazing. Okay, so Will, we're going to take another quick poll, and we want to know, Elisa, if you can go ahead and launch that for us. We want to know which waste materials you think your business can currently recycle.
This is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
The poll has been launched. I'm still getting, okay, yeah. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Collecting. My internet connection, I think, might be a little sketchy. It took a minute for that poll to go out, but it went out. So I think people are responding. Thank you. We'll give it about another 10 or so seconds. Oh yeah, you're gonna have a field day with the answers here, Will. Good, thank you. All right, well, I'll go ahead and close the poll. Most folks have voted. Thank you very much. All right, so good news. 0% of us thought cardboard only. 33% of the voters said cardboard, paper, and plastic. 44% beauty waste. So all the foils and color tubes and traditional recycling, so 44%. And then 22% Will said everything goes into the landfill.
All right, Will.
So
Which
that's
one
the
is
reality
correct?
of our industry. That's what we're up against. And people often say, who are your competitors? And our response is, our competition is the status quo. Much like with Vish, it's what we're really trying to do is change people's minds about how beauty services get performed and how this waste gets managed. And so just as most people don't have a color management system in place, most people unfortunately don't have a comprehensive waste management system. And it's great to see that we've got a good representation here from our waste warriors, the 44% who are recovering up to 95% of their waste through Green Circle. But unfortunately, the vast majority, more than 80% of salons out there, don't even have access to the basics: paper, plastic, cardboard. And that's really, where our conversation begins, is helping you to have support in those areas where you can't recycle anything, but also taking it that much further so that all of the materials from your beauty services, hair clippings, foils, color tubes, aerosol cans, and even that material that's left after your Vish reweigh, all of that liquid color can also be recovered through the Green Circle program.
Okay, that's awesome. So tell us, how much waste do salons typically generate, and what are the impacts on salons financially as well as the environment?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we actually have a calculator on our website where salon professionals can go in and basically just answer a few questions around the number of guests that they service, and it will actually make a prediction based on our historical data. And it's incredible to see that the average salon actually wastes over 550 pounds per year of material, and about 20% of that is actually hair color. So looking at our historical data from 2021, we've seen that the average Green Circle member is sending us 99 pounds of hair color per year. So you can imagine, if you're looking at your cost per mixed ounce, multiply that 99 pounds times 16 times your dollar value, and that's what you're coming up with in terms of actual wasted material, which is, as we know, money down the drain. And so I think we heard it perfectly from Tim, what the solution is and what the reality is, which is that 40% of purchased hair color never actually makes it onto the client's head and never gets transitioned into revenue for the business. So that's the opportunity that's available. And I think what's really cool is when you have this kind of 1, 2, 3 combo of Vish, Green Circle, and Rosie, you're not only able to implement the proper tracking to ensure that you're performing color services consistently and actually collecting that data back, you're also able to ensure that you've got the technology in place to properly account for that financially. And then what we do at the end is we kind of provide you that final data of this is what comes back to us at the end of all of those actions. At the end of the equation, this is the information that comes back to us in terms of what's actually still being wasted. So you can continue to refine your approach and ensure that over time you're becoming more and more sustainable and more operationally efficient.
It's incredible to think about the amount of waste that we don't even probably realize. And you're right, Tim did say that. And I think it's a great example of saying take 40% of your color order when you receive it and set it aside. Like that's what you're wasting. So I think that's so true. So Will, what is the mission of Green Circle Salon?
So our mission, simply put, is to create a sustainable beauty industry. We know that there's this ugly truth behind every professional beauty service, and it's the stuff that happens in the back room that nobody talks about, and that unfortunately only beauty professionals see. The majority of guests probably think that there's already some kind of solution in place, and that's because when it comes to laundromats or automotive or the electronics we buy, there are stewardship programs in place to ensure that these materials are being sustainably managed. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, the beauty industry is one of the only ones that's gone unregulated in terms of what can be dumped down the drain or thrown into the landfill. And so when this program started in 2009, it really started from looking around the salon and kind of seeing some of those same issues that you pointed out, Lori, at the start of the webinar. Areas where there were these kind of baked in inefficiencies, and it just kind of took somebody to look around and say, hey, I wonder if there's a way to change the status quo, to kind of challenge what we're all doing every day. And so that was the genesis of the Green Circle program. And fast forward 13 years, and the mission hasn't changed, but what we've been able to do over more than a decade is we've been able to continually refine our approach to find the best solutions for these materials. So, it used to be hair was being collected for oil spill cleanup. And in 2010, we supported this massive effort sponsored by Redken to actually soak up oil in the Gulf of Mexico using hair booms made from Green Circle members' hair clippings and donated nylon stockings. But fast forward a decade, and we're now actually looking at how can we take those same hair clippings and turn those into biocomposite materials. So actually just this month, we started sending out recycling bins to our members made of post-industrial plastic and hair clippings. And so it's kind of crazy to think about, but the idea is that when you take a step back and you look at all of these materials and you sort of flip the narrative on them being waste and you think about them as building blocks, all of a sudden, all of these things become possible. So in this case, the hair clippings are actually acting as almost like micro rebar to reinforce the strength and flexibility of this plastic material. And the idea is that eventually these will come back to us. They can be chipped or melted down and turned back into new products. And all of that is being made possible because our members are actually putting hair into those bins and sending it back to us. So the answer to, you know, what is our goal? It's really to rethink the value of waste and to reclaim the value of waste, so that as an industry, we can actually begin to build a regenerative salon instead of one that continues to take, make, and waste all of the products that are being used in our services.
Well, there was a study that you guys had done a couple years ago with Modern Salon, and it talked about why a client would actually change salons. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that would be really important for a salon owner to know why a guest may leave them or go to somewhere else.
Yeah, it's a great question. So let me preface that, Lori, by saying with a program like Green Circle, of course, there is a cost. However, the way that we've built the Green Circle model is through an environmental stewardship fee or an eco fee, same as you would pay on electronics or a hotel stay. And the idea there is that as a business, your profitability should never be compromised as a result of doing the right thing for people and the planet. And so, and this also aligns with our B Corp status and our philosophy that business can actually be used as a force for good, even if it's generating profitability. And really that's what helps to support this entire thing and to ensure that we create a prosperous economy. So with that thinking, Rosie has allowed us to actually create an eco fee line item that gets automatically added to the ticket of each guest. By doing that, it's ensuring that the program actually remains self-liquidating or actually becomes a revenue generator for the business that you can then reinvest those profits into technologies like Vish or eco heads or any number of different things that help to support the operational efficiency of the business. So with that said, we know that sometimes salon owners and stylists are challenged by that thinking, and they kind of ask the question like, I don't know if my guests would support this. And so historically what we've done is we've kind of said, well, ask them, do a poll, you know, ask if this is something that they value. And in 2020, we took it one step further by partnering with Modern Salon Research to do a study to really understand consumer behaviors and attitudes towards sustainability, as well as those of beauty professionals. And what we learned was actually really staggering. 84% of salon guests want to know what happens to the waste after their beauty service. And not only that, so not only do the majority of people actually want to understand that process, and so by not sharing it with them or by kind of pre-deciding that it's not something they'll support, you're taking away that opportunity from them. But what's more, and this was really staggering for me, 60% of salon guests would actually consider changing salons if they knew that they were moving over to one where all of the material was now being responsibly managed. So that just tells me that, you know, just as we're seeing this shift towards greener products and greener services and, you know, the guest's health becomes a priority. Similarly, what's happening in the community, how these materials are being managed, and, you know, the need to really show the guests that we are transparent with how we conduct our services. This has never been more important than it is today.
And that transparency is the same thing in the salon, right? So like, you don't have to hide your recycling boxes, put them out, let your clients see them, let them know what you're doing and how you're contributing to the environment and giving back and recycling this product.
Exactly. So just as you hear, this is Michael from the Paul Mitchell Group holding up his waste and really showing this is the ugly truth behind our industry, but I'm a waste warrior. I'm actually combating this issue. And it's bringing that to your guests and creating goodwill by doing that.
That's awesome. So what sort of results are people seeing environmentally and in terms of salon profit?
Yeah, so salon profitability, it really depends, you know, on what your goals are. Like I said, Rosie's made it really simple to implement this eco fee so that you can make the program self-liquidating, or you can actually carve out a little bit of extra funds that are being generated and can be reinvested in the business through other environmental and financially sustainable technologies. So that one's really up to the salon owner, and it's designed to be as flexible as their business needs. Environmentally, it's, like I said, it's 550 pounds of waste per year no longer entering the landfill. What's really cool is that Green Circle members take that certificate that they get at the end of the year, and they use that to apply for awards. They use that, of course, to stay ahead of changing legislature, because we know that the environmental legislature that's in place is continually evolving, and it's not going to be the same in another 10 years as what we saw 10 years ago. And I should also add that part of our new 2022 commitment to our members is that when you become Green Circle certified, you are also automatically enrolled in our carbon neutral certification program. So this is really exciting, because we know that salons just naturally create all of these emissions as a result of day-to-day business. You know, it's impossible to use a blow dryer without creating carbon emissions. However, what we can do as an industry, and what we're trying to build really a groundswell as a movement towards carbon neutral certification. And this is something that I think consumers might not quite be there yet. But as I've told people, you know, pre-pandemic, when I traveled, I would go and look at Google flights, and, you know, you would just choose the cheapest flight. Now, as a consumer, one of the data points they include is the carbon emissions generated from each flight. And it will actually tell you this particular flight generates above average or below average carbon emissions. And for me, that was a turning point, because that says that consumers are increasingly making their spending decisions based on the carbon emission output. And as a Green Circle member, you're now able to tell that same consumer, when you come into my space, not only are you getting this great beauty service that's, you know, 95% of the waste is being recovered, but you can also enjoy a guilt-free, carbon neutral certified beauty service.
That's amazing. And it's something for the salon to be proud of, that they can contribute to that.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. And I think the logical kind of end point of that conversation is you begin attracting not only guests, but also staff, this new generation of stylists who are looking increasingly for a business that aligns with their value set. And you know, we go to these seminars and we hear about the Great Resignation and how hard it is to attract and retain talent. Well, this is your way of saying, hey, we're going to lead with our values. This is what we believe in. And if you're similarly inclined, we want you to come and join our clan, because you understand the importance of carbon neutral waste recovery. And that's a way to find somebody who's not just a good cultural fit, but who's going to actually want to stay and grow within that business.
Absolutely. I was going to say the same thing, the culture of your salon, and you attract that. So that's awesome. You guys have a new program. Can you tell us about this artist program?
Yeah, so you know, we'd be remiss to say anything about the industry without acknowledging the fact that you know, COVID has only accelerated the movement of beauty professionals from employee-based salons to the independent model. And so we've kind of looked at this over many years, and we understood that there was this need to address the independents and the boutique salons, the smaller locations that maybe didn't have the same footprint and couldn't collect their waste in the same way. And so after wrestling with it for many years, we're really excited to say that we've launched the Independent Artists Program. This is a way for, you know, single owner operators all the way up to booth rent salons or you know, boutique salons to not only recover their waste, but also to do it in a way that exactly mirrors their business. So it's a subscription-based program that responds directly to what they're consuming or the waste that they're generating inside their space. And it's super simple to sign up through our website. What happens is basically the artist goes through a series of automated questions. And once we understand what kind of waste they're generating based on the services they perform and the number of guests they see, it will make a prediction for how many boxes of waste they're going to be creating on the program. And then from there, the subscription automatically builds out. They fill the boxes, they send them back to us, and the whole thing is designed to really exist at a much smaller scale, but still be something that you can have a conversation with your guest, and it won't take over your whole space, but it will be a complement to your services. So this is really exciting for us because I think, you know, everybody in the industry, manufacturer, distributor, or, you know, waste recoverers, we're all looking for how can we address the independents, and how can we continue to provide that kind of best-in-class service that we've become known for at a larger scale in an employee-based salon, but to do it in a small room that's maybe only 100 square feet. And this is really this is a really exciting moment for us. And of course, when artists sign up for this program, they are also automatically enrolled in the carbon neutral benefit.
That's awesome. That was my next question. So thank you for sharing that. All right.
Yeah.
So Will, how can salons get involved?
Great question. So simply put, you go onto our website. We also have a really active Instagram account and of course, Facebook and LinkedIn and all that stuff where all of our members gather. And it's really exciting because I think the true power of this program is in seeing your peer group who are all kind of, you know, taking charge and showing their waste and really just being proud waste warriors. So I would say check out social, but when you're ready to get started, visit our website. Everybody goes through a similar kind of assessment, and then if you're an independent artist, you'll be automatically enrolled in that program. If you're an employee-based salon, then we have a dedicated team that will kind of work to support onboarding. But the key is really when you become a Green Circle member, we provide you with all of the education so that you understand exactly why and how this program works. We also provide you with the materials to bring this program to life inside your space and through social, digital, and press release. We provide you with access to our online directory so you can be listed and be found by people looking for green salons in their area. And of course, the carbon neutral benefit. So really it all begins by visiting our website, greencirclesalons.com, and that's where we kind of kickstart the journey. And also, because Earth Month is coming up, and that's kind of much like Christmas is the busy season for hair salons, Earth Month is kind of our busy season. We have a special Earth Month offer, which is that all Green Circle members joining our Full Circle program will actually be supporting the planting of 100 trees throughout the month of April. So make sure if you're going to join that you join in April so that you can actually take advantage of that benefit and promote to your network that you helped to plant 100 trees.
That's an incredible offer and an amazing way to give back and contribute back into our environment. So, all right, well, thank you so much for all of that incredible information. And I hope that you're able to still stick around also for some questions and answers.
Absolutely.
But now that we've had learned ways to make your salon more efficient and what you can do to start eliminating the waste and reducing the carbon footprint, we're excited to learn what you guys want to, our audience here wants to do to start that journey. But you can start by scanning our QR code here. We'll give you an easy checklist of ways that you can start your journey in contributing to the environment and reducing that footprint. So also for more information about either of these companies, here are the QR codes. You can go ahead and scan them both. And then at this time, I think we can bring Tim back up if you want to come back on, Tim. And Elisa, do we have any questions for either Will or Tim?
We do have had a couple come in, so I would encourage people, if you do have a question, to please locate your question panel on your control panel within the GoToWebinar application, and ask any questions that you have at this time. But yes, we have had a couple come in, so thank you for those who have already asked questions. The first question is, will the formula go back into Rosie if it's not the same service that was scheduled?
So if it's not the same service that was scheduled, yes, I believe so. And I'd have to, double check that. But what happens is no matter what you're doing, the formula that you create in Vish, we take that formula and we convert it into text form so that information is then transferred back into Rosie, into the client notes. So hopefully that answers the question.
Great. Yeah, if that person wants to respond again, let us know that that was the answer they were looking for. That'd be great.
Yeah, and Just in terms of that, we store the formula notes back in Rosie, and they're there always for you to access and for your team to do the consultations. But rest assured that the formula being there in Vish saves you a ton of time as well, because you're not having to go in to check it. They're there ready to use, and they're also updated. So the most recent formulas are there. And even at times when you create favorite formulas for quick access, they are separated in the client history in Vish as well.
Great. Thank you, Tim. Next question that came in was, our salon does want to support recycling. However, we have very little space that we can use for recycling bins. Does Green Circle have a smaller or stackable option?
That's a great question. The answer is that salons can use whatever they want to separate the materials. So in order for us to do what we need to do with our waste recovery partners, we need to get hair and metals and hair color all separate. However, the way that you separate them inside your space, whether you're stacking, whether you're hiding that stuff in the back room or putting it on display, it's entirely up to the salon. The only thing that we need to make sure is that those materials all end up in the same box that gets sent back to Green Circle through our UPS carbon neutral shipping. So we have people that have a shed out back. We've got people who have gotten really creative, and ultimately we have figured out the way to work with micro suites all the way up to the biggest salons in our industry. So I guarantee that there's a solution out there for you, and we just need to get creative.
Thank you. We definitely have a waste problem. How do Vish and Green Circle work together to help me?
I mean, I think the first thing, I think it's fantastic, and I'm always so impressed by what Green Circle is doing in their efforts. And they were around before Vish came along, and what we're able to do is we're just able to reduce how much is being shipped, which is a benefit to everybody. So as Green Circle's recycling it, but having less to recycle is always better for the planet and for the salon as well. So we're able to directly impact, how much color is going back to Green Circle. But with our inventory feature and with our inventory reporting, we're able just to kind of streamline what you're ordering as well, so that you're not overstocking, you're not carrying too much product, you're not being wasteful on that front as well.
Yeah, and I would just add to what Tim said, kind of as I said earlier, the final weight of that material which we provide back to salons is sort of the end of the whole exercise. It's the end of the equation. And so you can kind of use the data that we provide to go back to the beginning of the exercise and kind of bring that back to your team and say, okay, so we're using Vish, we've gotten better. Here's what Green Circle's telling us is still ending up in our waste recovery shipments. So here's how we need to reinforce what we're doing. And so it really becomes a cyclical process that kind of leads to continual improvement. And I think that, as with everything, what gets measured can get improved. And just being able to have access to that data is really the critical thing. And then obviously making sure that the right people are hearing that, and that the management team is using that to make informed decisions and to reinforce your training.
Yeah, and I would just like to also add that, when I had my salon and I worked for a product company for many years, traveling around, and we would go to salons and we would capture, and this is, I think, before Green Circle, we would capture all the hair color waste in a bucket, and we would show the team at the end at every staff meeting, and they want all to be shocked at how much is being wasted. But there was never really a solution before. So you can highlight a problem, but that problem is not going to get fixed, obviously, if there's no solution. So, it's just able to take action upon what you're seeing as well and find new ways. I mean, there's, we're continually finding new ways that we can reduce cost and waste in all of your salons. And we're super happy to be partnered with Rosie and Green Circle to really have the maximum impact for every salon that we touch or that we're in.
Wonderful, thank you. This actually looks like a question for everyone, so be prepared. currently this person has a small salon renting a space by themselves, but is planning on growing with, growing her salon and her business. And, how hard is it to move from a single service provider business with any of these applications to a full team of commissioned stylists potentially? So Lori, if you want to start.
Sure, my answer is easy. So just with the number of service providers that grow in your business, that's where your pricing structure would adjust based on service providers, not receptionists or anything like that. So that's the only thing that you need to do. If you were going to completely move or change your business name, also easy. We can update just the business name. You're going to add your service providers in there. Anybody that you hire into your company, you just make those simple updates. So you can keep your same existing Rosie account. You're just going to make the appropriate changes. And if you need any assistance, you can always reach out to our support team who can guide you with anything that you're looking for. Will, I'll pass it over to you.
Yep, I was on mute, sorry.
So I'll just kind of chime in to say that I believe, particularly as a result of COVID, Green Circle and probably all of the supportive businesses in our industry have had to learn how to become really dynamic and responsive. And so there was a time, particularly in Canada, where we were putting salons on hold, bringing them off hold, putting them back on hold multiple times in one calendar year, sometimes multiple times in a month. And with that, we really understood how to move salons from one program type to another as well. And so I think it's something that you have to be able to ask of your vendor partners, that they're able to respond to your needs, because we've gone through such a tumultuous time. And of course, our industry's always had walkouts, and we've always had these unique challenges that would put a strain on your business. So we are able to very easily adapt, bringing you from one program type into the next. And I think it's something that you should be able to ask of your partners.
Yeah, and we work similarly to how Rosie operates, how we track and change your subscription and what you're paying monthly with Vish. Is that we start you off, we would start you off as a single service provider. And that would be, you'd have one Vish unit, so one iPad, one scale. But as your team grows and as you add more units, as you add more scales, more iPads, we're able to grow with you. So, we have salons that are just a single person or independents who are working, and we have ones that have 50 hairdressers at any given time mixing hair color. So we can scale, we can adjust your service from us to the size of your business and at whatever speed you'd like that to be.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got two more at this time. Actually, one of them is not a question. It is just a comment. It is a shout out for someone who apparently is currently using Green Circle and is encouraging the audience to please take a look. So thank you for that comment.
Well, with that comment too, Elisa, remember there are handouts, so don't forget to grab your handout before you leave the webinar in your GoToWebinar panel.
I remember back in the day when I was, it was very early days of Vish, probably in our first year of selling Vish. I'd go around to salons, and I was living in Montreal, Canada at the time. And I remember just walking into a salon just to have a conversation about Vish, no appointment. I just kind of cold walked in, and the owner was going to cut my hair, and I was going to talk to him about Vish. And the owner said to me, "Yeah, we don't actually really have a problem with waste in our salon." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I remember glancing up at the mirror, and they had a placard from Green Circle that said I don't remember the exact number at the time, but I remember it's something to the effect of 20 or 15 pounds of hair color was wasted last year with you. So, I really love that this, we have so many tools and so many opportunities now to really combat this problem. And it's been existing in our industry for so long. And as we grow with hair color and as it becomes, hair color, it's like haircuts, they are the service that has been the staple for so long, but they're static and they don't often change or able to generate more revenue. And we've become so creative with hair color. You know, with the internet and everybody having access to so much education now, it really is an opportunity. If, you know, we just went through COVID, if your salons are experiencing challenges, keeping staff, you know, controlling costs and profit margins, then, you know, looking at Green Circle, looking at Vish and Rosie, you know, we have a lot of solutions for you, and we'd love to have that conversation.
Well said, Tim.
Okay, I have a couple more, and I know we're bouncing right up against the top of the hour. So thank you very much. Let me get these other questions out. Does Vish have a report that would show a salon owner which colorists have or have not been reweighing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we set up the dashboard so it has visibility to whoever you want as a salon owner want it to be. So that what you're able to see is not only who's reweighing, but how much they're costing you. So we get down to the penny. We know in real time, you know, employee A, B, and C, how much product they're using. And then we look at the comparison between them. And what we often see is there's a massive range in the salon. Some people are mixing $6, $7 per application or per service, while others are mixing 15. So that insight is available, so that really helps you and your management team get control of that. And where we know we can get salons is down to about $4 per service. So, you know, one thing that we like to look at, if you're interested in Vish, look at what you spend monthly on hair color. And just off the waste metric alone, imagine if you had 40% of that money back in your pocket or back in your bank account, and that's what we can do. But then we'll look at your cost per service, cost per application. And we're going to be able to get that in range for everybody on your team and get it down to the lowest number possible. And like I said, we know we can get salons down to $4, where most salons will end up in a range of 8 to 12 when they start with us. So plenty of opportunity, and the insights are so valuable. And our team is there to coach you along the way. So not only do you understand what you're looking at, is that you're able to take action and implement those changes in your business.
Thank you. One last question has come in. This is a Rosie question, Lori. This person really is getting ready to grow from a one-chair salon to a very large team. Do we offer training of the staff? And how would that training present itself, and how would they make sure they get involved with the proper training to grow using Rosie, and then hopefully Vish and Green Circle as well?
Yeah, well, congratulations, first of all, that's amazing. So yes, you can, and yes, we provide training for all of your team if you need some training, or even refresh training for any existing teams. A super easy way to set that up is to go right to getrosie.com, and there's a chat with us feature, and you can say, I need to schedule a training, and one of our account managers can set that up and schedule that whenever is convenient for you. Or right from the Rosie app, you can go to the support tab and you can create a support ticket, and you can leave your information there, and somebody will also reach out to you. And we use a Calendly, so you can schedule whenever is convenient for you and your team. We can break it up into 2 different sessions if you want, or if you have a front desk team and you have a spa team, or they're going to be using different features in Rosie, and we can set up those trainings that are going to apply directly for them specifically. I hope that was helpful. All right, well, thank you, Will, and thank you, Tim, for all of the wonderful information today. I know that it was helpful to all of our audience. So before we leave, go ahead and scan the Vish or the Green Circle QR code on your screen. Don't forget to take the handouts that are in your in the handouts in the panel there. But also, we just want to share a couple of our upcoming events that we have with you. The first one is on April 11th, and it is a Salon Owner's Guide to Building or Rebuilding Credit. And you can join me with Axion Opportunity Fund, where we're going to discuss how salons can become financially resilient and build or rebuild your credit history. And then also we have an upcoming live Facebook event on April 18th, where we will be joined by Derek from Salon Ninja. So in the meantime, thank you for joining our webinar today. If you're not currently a Rosie user, you can go ahead and scan our QR code up here in the top right-hand corner, where you can get 30 days to try it out on us, or visit getrosie.com. So thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.
Thank
you.
you. Bye, Will. Bye, Timothy.
Thanks for
Bye,
having me.
guys.
Thank you so much.